Survivor, Chapter 38. Part of my job is gardening, so I spray everything with twice the recommended strength of poison weeds and real plants alike. Then I straighten the beds of artificial salvia and hollyhocks. The look I'm after this season is a fake cottage garden. Last year I did artificial French parterres, but before that was a Japanese garden of all plastic plants. All I have to do is yank all of the flowers, sort them, and stick them all back in the ground in a new pattern. Maintenance is a snap. Dull flowers get a little touch-up with a red or yellow spray paint. A shot of clear lacquer or hairspray stops silk flowers from fraying at the edge. The fake yarrow and plastic nasturtiums need the dust hose off them. The plastic roses wired onto the poisoned dead skeletons of the original rose bushes need a shot of smell. I need a shot of smell. Some kind of blue-colored birds are walking around the lawn as if they're looking for a lost contact lens. Oh, that's a cute image. For the roses, I empty the poison out of the sprayer and fill it with 3 gallons of water and half a bottle of Eternity by Calvin Klein. I spray the fake Shasta daisies with watered-down vanilla from the kitchen. The artificial asters get white shoulders. For most of the other plants, I use aerosol cans of floral room fresheners. The artificial lemon thyme I spray with Lemon Pledge furniture polish. Part of my strategy for courting fertility hollis is to look ugly on purpose, and my getting dirty is a start. Looking a little rough around the edges. Still, it's tough to get dirty gardening when you really never touch the ground, but my clothes smell from the poison and my nose is a little sunburnt. With a wire stem of a plastic calla lily, I chop up a handful of the hard, dead soil and I rub it in my hair. I wedge the dirt under my fingernails. God forbid I should try and look good for fertility. The worst strategy I could pursue is self-improvement. It would be a big mistake to dress up, make my best effort, comb my hair, maybe even borrow some swell clothes from the man I work for, something all cotton and pastel shirt-wise, brush my teeth, put on what they call deodorant, and walk into the Columbia Memorial Mausoleum for my big second date, still looking ugly, but showing signs I really tried to look good. So here I am. This is as good as it gets. Take it or leave it, as if I don't care what she thinks. Looking good is not part of the big plan. My plan is to look like untapped potential. The look I'm going for is natural, real. The look I'm after is a raw material. Not just desperate and needy, but ripe with potential. Not hungry. Sure, I want to look like I'm worth the effort. Washed but not ironed. Clean but not polished. Confident but humble. Honest is how I want to look. The truth doesn't glitter and shine. Here's passive aggression in action. My idea is to make ugly work in my favor. Establish a low baseline for contrast with my later on. Before and after, The Frog and the Prince. It's 2 on Wednesday afternoon, according to my daily planner. I'm rotating the oriental rug and the pink drawing room so it won't get a wear pattern. You have to move all the furniture to another room, including the piano. Roll the rug, roll the carpet pad, vacuum, mop the floor. The rug is 12 feet by 16 feet. Then turn the pad and unroll it. Turn and unroll the carpet. Drag all the furniture back. According to my daily planner book, this shouldn't take me more than half an hour. Instead, I just fluff the traffic patterns in the carpet and untie the strand of fringe the people I work for tied in a knot. I tie another strand of the opposite end of the rug so the whole thing looks rotated. I move all the furniture a little bit and put ice in the little divots left in the carpet. As the ice melts, the matted divots will fluff back up. I scuff the shine off my shoes. At the makeup mirror of the woman I work for, I put mascara up inside each nostril until my nose hair looks thick and full. Ooh, that's a nice little tip. Then I catch a bus. Another part of the Survivor Retention Program is you get a free bus pass every month. Oh, that's nice. Stamped on the back of this pass, it says, property of the Department of Human Resources, non-transferable. The whole way to the mausoleum, I'm telling myself I don't give a shit if fertility shows up or not. A lot of half-gone church district prayers recite themselves and in my mind. My head is just a mishmash of old prayers and responses. May I be of complete and utmost service. Let my every task be my grace. In my every labor lies my salvation. Let my effort not be wasted. Though through my efforts may I save the world. Really, I'm thinking, oh please, oh please, oh please, be there this afternoon, fertility hollis. Inside the mausoleum front doors, there's the usual cheap reproductions of real beautiful music to make you feel not so alone. It's the same 10 songs, only with just the music and no singing. They don't play it except for certain days. Some of the old galleries in the Sincerity and New Hope wings never have the music. You don't hear it anywhere unless you really listen. It's music as wallpaper. utilitarian. Music is Prozac or Xanax to control how you feel. Music is aerosol room freshener. I walk through the Serenity wing and don't see fertility. I go through faith, joy, and tranquility, and she's not here. I swipe some plastic roses off some dead person's crypt so I don't show up empty-handed. I'm heading into hatred, anger, fear, and resignation, and there standing at crypt 678 in contentment is Fertility Hollis with the red hair. She waits and I've been walked up next to for 240 seconds before she turns and says hi. She can't be the same person who was screaming her orgasm at me over the phone. I say hi. In her hands is a bunch of fake orange blossoms. Nice enough, but nothing I'd bother to steal. Her dress today is the same kind of brocade they make curtains out of, patterned white on a white background. It looks stiff and flame retardant, stain repellent, wrinkle resistant. Mother of the bride, modest in her pleated skirt with long sleeves, she says, "Do you miss him too?" Everything about her looks martyr-proofed. I ask, "Miss who?" "Trevor," she says. She's barefoot on the stone floor. "Yeah, right, Trevor," I tell myself, my secret sodomite lover. I forgot. I say, "Yeah, I miss him too." Her hair looks gathered in a field and piled on her head to dry. Did he ever tell you about the cruise he took me on? No. It was completely illegal. She looks from crypt number 678 up at the ceiling where the music comes down from the little speakers next to the painted-on clouds and angels. First, he made me take dancing lessons with him. We learned all the ballroom dances they call the cha-cha and the foxtrot, the rumba and the swing, the waltz. The waltz was easy. The angels played their music above for a minute, telling her something, and Fertility Hollis listens. "Here," she says, and turns to me. She takes my flowers and hers and puts them against the wall. She asks, "You can waltz, right?" "Wrong." "I can't believe you could know Trevor and not know how to waltz," she says and shakes her head. In her head, there's a picture of Trevor and me dancing together, laughing together, having anal sex. This is the handicap I'm up against. This and the idea I killed her brother. She says, "Open your arms," and I do. She comes in face to face with me and cups one hand on the back of my neck. Her other hand grabs my hand and pulls it out far away from us. She says, "Take your hand and put it against my bra." So I do. "On my back," she says, and twists away from me. "Put your hand on my bra where it crosses my spine." So I do. For her feet, she shows me how to step forward with my left foot, then my right foot, then bring my feet together while she does this all in the opposite direction. It's called a box step, she says. Now listen to the music. She counts 1, 2, 3. The music goes 1, 2, 3. I fucking love Juice. The music, we count over and over. And each step each time we count, and we're dancing. The flowers and all the crypts up and down the walls lean out over us. The marble smooths under our feet. We're dancing. The light is through stained glass windows. The statues are carved in their niches. The music comes out to the speakers, weak and echoes off the stone until it's moving back and forth in drafts and currents, notes and chords around us. And we're dancing. When I remember about the cruise, Fertility says, and her arm is curved to rest against the whole length of my arm, I remember the faces of the last passengers as their lifeboats were lowered past the ballroom windows. Their orange canvas life vests sort of framed their heads, so their heads looked cut off and put on orange pillows, and they just stared with big wide open fish eyes at Trevor and me still inside the ship's ballroom while the ship was starting to sink. She was on a sinking boat? A ship, Fertility says. It was called the Ocean Excursion. Try to say that 3 times fast. Oh, that would be difficult. And it was sinking? It was beautiful, she says. The travel agent said not to come crying back to her. It was an old French line ship, the travel agent warned us. Only now it was sold to some outfit in South America. It was very Art Deco. It was trashed. It was the Chrysler building floating sideways in the ocean and cruising up and down the Atlantic coast of South America, full of lower middle class people from Argentina and their wives and kids. Argentinians. All the light fixtures on the walls were pink glass shaped into gigantic marquise cut diamond shapes. Everything on the ship was in this pink diamond light, and the carpets had big stains and worn out spots. We're dancing in place, and then we start to turn. The 1, 2, 3 box step of it. The forward and back of the hesitation step. The lift of the heel and a perfect bit of Cuban step 2, 3. I turn with Fertility Hollis bent inside the hug of my arm. We turn again and again. We turn again. We turn again, turn again. And Fertility says how the lifeboats were gone. All the lifeboats were gone, and the ship trailed its empty lifeboat rigging in the relaxed Caribbean evening. The lifeboats rode off into the sunset, the crowd in their orange life vests starting to wail and scam for their jewelry and prescriptions. People were doing that sign of the cross thing. Fertility and I, 1, 2, 3, waltz, 2, 3, across the marble gallery. In her story, Fertility and Trevor waltzed across the tilting mahogany parquet, the Versailles ballroom tilting as the bow sank, and the stern pointed the four-leaf clovers of each clover-leaf propeller into the evening air. A flock of little gilt ballroom chairs hurried past them and collected under a statue of that Greek moon goddess, Diana. The gold brocade curtains hung crooked across each window. They were the last passengers aboard the SS Ocean Excursion. The steam was still up because the pink chandeliers, just like regular chandeliers, Fertility says, but on an ocean liner they hang rigid as icicles. The chandeliers and the Versailles ballroom sparkled, and the public address system still filled the ship with a crackling music. One after another of elevator waltzes melting into each other as Trevor and Fertility turned. Below decks, the Caribbean was rising. Oh, as Fertility and I turn and step in place, then slide toe-to-toe across the mausoleum floor. Below decks, the Caribbean was rising in the Trianon dining room, floating the edges of 100 linen tablecloths. The ship was drifting with all engines dead. The warm blue water was spread out flat to the horizon in every direction. Under even a little water, the checkerboard floor of mahogany and walnut parquet looked lost and out of reach. Here was one last look at the continent of Atlantis, with salt water rising around the statues and the marble pillars as Trevor and Fertility waltzed past the legend of a lost civilization, gold-painted carvings, and carved French palace tables. Sea level rose diagonal across life-size paintings of queens wearing crowns as the ship tilted and the vases spilled flowers, roses, and orchids and stalks of ginger into the water where bottles of champagne bobbed and Trevor and Fertility splashed past. The metal skeleton of the ship, the bulkheads behind the lining of paneling and tapestry, shuddered and groaned. I asked, was she going to drown herself? Don't be stupid, Fertility says with her head against my chest, breathing the poison smell all over me. Trevor was never wrong. That was the whole problem. Never wrong about what? Trevor Hollis had dreams, she told me. He'd dream a plane was going to crash. Trevor would tell the airline, and no one would believe him. Then the plane would crash and the FBI would bring him in for questioning. It was always easier to believe he was a terrorist than a psychic. The dreams got so he couldn't sleep. He didn't dare read a newspaper or watch television, or he'd see the report of some 200 people dying in a plane crash he knew would happen. He couldn't stop. He couldn't save anybody. Our mom killed herself because she had the same kind of dreams, Fertility says. Suicide is an old family tradition for us. Still dancing, I tell myself. At least we have something in common. He knew the ship was only going to sink about halfway. Some valve or something was going to fail, and water would fill the engine rooms and some of the big public rooms on the lower decks, Fertility says. He knew from his dreams that we'd have hours with the whole ship to ourselves. We'd have all that food and wine, then someone would come along to rescue us. Still dancing, I ask. Is that why he killed himself? The music is my only answer for a minute. You can't imagine how beautiful it all was. The flooded ballrooms with pianos underwater and all the needlepoint furniture floating around, Fertility says against my chest. It was the nicest memory ever. We danced past statues of saints in somebody else's religion. To me, they're just rock shaped into glorified nobodies. The Atlantic water was so clear. It was pouring down the grand staircase, she says. We took off our shoes and kept dancing. Still dancing, counting 1, 2, 3, I asked. Does she have the same kind of dreams? A little bit, she says. Not very much. More and more all the time. More than I want to. I ask, so is she going to kill herself the same as her brother? No, Fertility says. She lifts her head and smiles at me. We dance 1, 2, 3. She says, no way I would shoot myself. I'd probably take pills. At home is my stash of government-issue antidepressants, hypnotics, mood equalizers, sedatives, MAO inhibitors in the candy dish beside my goldfish on my fridge. We dance 1, 2, 3. She says, just kidding. We dance. She puts her head back on my chest and says, it all depends on how terrible my dreams get. Well, there it is. That's the next chapter.